Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I have a very important public service announcement. Until we find a cure, have your liberal Democrats spayed and neutered. Thank you. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you. Beautiful morning out there this morning on Valentine's Day and also Ash Wednesday, the first day of Lent. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've been worried about you. We haven't heard from you for a long time. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. God bless you, and thank you for doing the pledge.
Uh-huh.
All right. Thank you.
God bless you.
What a nice lady right there. Hey, I tell you what. Thank you, Lorna. Appreciate that. Right now, let's go to the weather forecast, and it's brought to you by K&R Rental. 256 South, 600 west of Hebron, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. For heaven's sakes, they're waiting for you. They've been there since 7 o'clock this morning, waiting to serve you with all the tools and all the equipment. And, you know, it got a little cooler, and things are frozen out there a little bit. We may even get some more snow. We're going to hear about that weather in a moment. They've got all the heaters, too, to keep you warm and keep every situation warm. So you be sure and stop over and see Roger and the crew today at K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway, or give them a call, 678-3122. Right now, here's Gina.
Here's your weather forecast for this Valentine's Day. Mother Nature could be showing us some love in the form of precipitation. We do have a slight chance of snow showers for today between 11 and 2 this afternoon. And winds are going to be picking up as well, becoming out of the west right around 17 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 43. Tonight, slight chance of rain or snow showers before 8 o'clock in the evening. Low right near 29 for tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies and a high of 38. Mostly clear for tomorrow night, low of 24. And for Friday, partly sunny, high of 40. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Gina, thank you. Brought to you by K&R Rental. They get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to serve you on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call, find out more information about the tools and equipment you need. Call them at 678-3122. K&R Rental. Absolutely great folks over there. What else have we got? Valentine's Day. Woke up this morning and my lovely bride gave me a nice Valentine and well wishes. She is the sweetest little person in the world, and I thank her for all that she does for me. Thank you so much, Goober. Love you on Valentine's Day. She makes 365 days a year Valentine's Day. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Hello, Ramsey's, and they've been in business serving you for almost 60 years. Wow. What a long proven track record of excellence. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They're open at 7:30 till 5, Monday through Friday. Real quick before we get, I've got about 5 or 6 really, really important stories this morning. Excuse me. I want to remind everybody that next week on Thursday, next week on the 22nd, we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley for our Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Oh, ho, ho, boy, am I looking forward to that. And don't forget today, take your sweetie in for Valentine's dinner at Denny's. You get an appetizer, 1 entree per person, and share a piece of delicious caramel apple pie crisp for just $20. Valentine's Day. Oh, she'll love you. She'll love you. Stop into Valentine's Day. Great eating. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, America's Diner. Really nice people. I could not believe that this television program could go lower into the gutter than what they have in the last 24 hours. Yesterday on the program, I told you how despicable Joy Behar and the crew, if you will, of The View on television was and is, running down our vice president and building up North Korea and everything else. I thought it was despicable, and it was. But yesterday, they absolutely went lower with a huge shovel. They kept digging the hole deeper. And this morning, I don't care who's offended by this in any way, shape, or form, Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of them on The View reached an all-time low. They're more repulsive than ever. Thanks to a former staffer at the White House, the Omarosa, you know who she is, you know, the black female that absolutely has a big mouth and not much between the ears. She made a comment about Vice President Pence and his praying and his being a Christian. And Joy Behar picked up on this yesterday, along with some of the other very low-class individuals on the program. And she said, when you talk to Jesus, that's one thing. But when Jesus talks to you, that's mental illness. Think about that. What is prayer? What is prayer where you sit down or get down on your knees and have a good talk with the Lord? I am not ashamed to say that I pray. I am not ashamed to say that I look forward through my prayers to whether it's good, bad, or whatever, the answer to my prayers will come to me thanks to those prayers. But to run down Christians and say that when Jesus talks to you, that's mental illness, this repugnant woman is apart from any decency and belittling Christians, and now she's raised my ire. I am going to do all I can to absolutely deteriorate any good standing in the community she may have. I'm going to do all I can. I'm going to try to call. I'm going to try to send emails. I'm going to do everything I can to let her know how absolutely repugnant this woman is. Praying and talking to the Lord and listening to Him for answers, I believe in. I do, and I will continue, even if the left loons want to come after me. And I would refer you to a very short 8-word part of Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. I just find this woman so despicable. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. I'm going to ask you, please, to have patience. I am going to do a commercial. I'll be right with you. Please do not go away. I want to remind everybody about our dear friends, and they are over at Pomerelle Place. Oh, we're so blessed to have them on the air. Seniors, don't live alone. Don't force yourself into looking at safety hazards and injuries by living alone and not eating well or taking your medication. Get a hold of the folks today at Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley, and the number to call to find out more information, 677-8212. 677-8212. Wonderful people and a great place for seniors at Pomerelle Place. Caller, good morning and thank you.
Good morning to you.
Hi, buddy.
How's everything with your life?
I'm really, really good. Keith, what can I do for you this morning, my dear friend?
Well, you were talking about Joy Behar and some of the others, but I wanted to bring up one thing that I picked up on the news, and I don't know which politician said this, but these were his words. If somebody doesn't go to prison over all these allegations and everything, our Constitution is toast.
I agree with that. Keith, I want to stay in the vein of the first story, though. I really do for this time. I hope you understand and appreciate that. I think it's very important as Christians that we absolutely denounce what happened yesterday with Joy Behar on The View in criticizing our Vice President Pence and his praying and being a Christian. I'm not going to vary from that right now until I get some more callers on it. You can voice your opinion on that, but I'm not going to go into that other story at this time.
I don't blame you on that. And as far as Joy Behar is concerned, I don't know how she can even sleep at night with her attitude. She has got so much hate in her system that I don't know what's going to happen to her. But when it comes to prayers, yes, I like to talk to the man. And sometimes my prayers are answered the way I'd like them, and sometimes they're not.
Well, and that goes right in accordance with a song that comes to mind by Garth Brooks, Unanswered Prayers. And whether there's a yes to our prayer or a no to our prayer, they're always answered. You got to remember that.
Yeah, and you know, every one of your listeners, because they think like you and I, they have faith in our Lord, and if we stay on the right side, we'll somehow make it through.
I agree with you. Keith, I appreciate your call this morning, and God bless you and your lovely wife. I'm glad you're back in phone distance, and I appreciate it. Call me again after the program. I need to visit with you, my friend. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you much. I want to hear from you folks out there. Doesn't this just make you mad that there is a continual, everyday attack on Christianity, our faith, our beliefs, our value system, family values, moral values? When are we going to stand up and fight back? When are all the pastors of the various churches and denominations going to start growing a backbone and stand up at the pulpit and fight back? This is despicable. Making fun of and mocking prayer and going after Mike Pence. I don't know, really, maybe it doesn't bother you. It does me. And I'm going to be the attack dog against these people as much as I can be. You know, it was also on the program that Sonny Hostin and, of course, Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg, and just absolutely terrible verbiage in running down someone of faith, thanks to originally the former White House staffer that they canned because nobody could stand her. Nobody wanted to be around her, and that's that Omarosa or Amorosa, however she wants her name. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget Dino Septic Service in Rupert recently purchased Dennis Dockstetter's pumping service, and they're bigger, and they can serve you and everybody else. Absolutely. He's pumping out your septic tanks, and they've got a great backhoe service, water and sewer lines installed, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, liquid waste removal. The list goes on and on with fast, fair-friendly service. You call Dino Septic Service today in Rupert at 436-6526 or in Burley, 678-1638. Dino Septic Service with that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. They are the best. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Every once in a while, I just can't take it anymore. I got to tell you, Joey, whatever her name's, Behar. I can't imagine the woman being human. She's just too sold out for me to even be reasonable. I don't know where she gets the ideas. She gets it that this is a reasonable way to act. She must be paid highly by the liberal sources, of course, to tout their load. Anyway, I just have to say that if this were a poll, I would want to vote in, and kind of what I'm doing anyway, and say that our vice president, the vice president of the United States, is due a little more honor and a little more respect than that, and I'd say a lot more. And he has done nothing to raise her ire, but she volunteers it, and it just makes me angry.
You know, let me ask you something, and I'm not really ask you something, but we can share in this comment. Vice President Mike Pence wears his religion and his faith on his sleeve, which I really respect. He is a man of very high class. Do you remember when the Me Too movement was really being pushed and promoted, and it's still out there, where dating today is going to have to go back about 50 degrees, and men don't know what to do or how to act anymore? Mike Pence said, I will never go to a dinner meeting with any other female in political circles without my wife. He is a man of extreme integrity, and for the attack by Joy Behar, one of the lowest pond scums on television today, I found her verbiage totally apprehensible.
Well, he is an honorable man, and that's one of his drawbacks. Doggone it, poor thing. He just does not do anything but make these people angry. You know, America's heartland, which I don't include just the center of the United States. I'm talking about everybody outside the big cities, generally speaking, knows the values that you've just discussed, knows the value of expressing those values. And it does hurt me a little bit that we can't do more to put Behar in her place more politically and more in more advertisement, I guess I should say.
I agree with you, and I want to thank you for your call this morning. It meant a lot to me. Thank you, sir, and God bless. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you. You know, are we going to keep on taking this garbage? Oh, they think it's cute. Oh, the left, loon Democrats get on the television and they make these outrageous statements. And they continue to kind of give a wink and a nod, the Republicans or conservatives or those Christians over there, they're praying. And they must be mentally unstable because they think that Jesus is going to talk to them. Oh, let's all laugh and giggle and poke fun at them. Yes, they're crazy. Well, we're going to keep on this program praying. We're going to keep on acknowledging God and faith. I'm not going to change ever for anybody. And if it ever got to the point, and I want to make this point before I take the next call, if it ever gets to the point where the liberal loons, they go to my advertisers or anything and say, well, you got to get that kook off the air. He's a Christian. He's a nut. I'll pull the plug myself. I'm not going to be dictated to by liberals that have no sense of decency whatsoever. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You know, these people that are trying to destroy our religious beliefs have no idea that if they accomplish this and they bring in a heathen government, and the first time they try to talk against religion or the politics of these foreign governments, they'll disappear.
Absolutely.
And I don't think they think about things like that.
Most
we lose our government and our religious beliefs to a bunch of heathens, this country's finished. And so these people that are against our religion at this time.
I agree with you, and most of these people are aspiring and spouting off the rules and regulatory means of Saul Alinsky and the taking over this country and turning it into a third world, third-rate country. I have no time for them, and I'm going to continue to degrade them. Thank you, Tony. It's good to hear from you. I was worried about you. Good to hear from you this morning.
Yeah, sometimes the reception's pretty bad in the morning around here.
Oh, my.
A lot of static and stuff.
Well, how are we coming through this morning?
I'll keep on bugging you.
No, go ahead. How are we coming through this morning? Pretty good?
Pardon?
I say, how are we coming?
The reception's real good right now.
Okay, buddy. Yeah. That's the liberals out there trying to tweak everything. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Caller number 2, I'll be right there. Don't go away, please. I want to remind everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. You got dinged up a little bit in an accident, or maybe you had a surgery, whatever the case might be. You got a bad arm, bad leg, whatever, they can help you get back to being you with all the exercises just for you. And don't forget, too, they've got that hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in the area. Oh, they're good. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, 678-1191. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had to shake my head. I could not believe somebody could be so sacrilegious as that on public television, out for everybody to see. It was disgusting. And I want to also comment, too, that had it not been for George Washington and our founding fathers had such a belief in God and asking God to direct them on how to build this country, we would not have a Bill of Rights and a Constitution written as it is that will withstand today, 200 and some years later.
I could not agree more. You know, Doug, I was so upset over listening to Joy Behar. And when I saw this, and I listened to it about 3 or 4 times last night, and Deanne pulled it off the internet this morning, the rest of the story, etc. I am going to do my best to file a grievance with ABC television to get her thrown off the air, get her thrown off of that television show, The View. And by the way, Wheels, we're getting a little feedback in the headset here this morning, if you would, please. I'm going to do all I can to let her know, and the rest of them on The View, including Whoopi Goldberg, how low-classed they are.
Exactly. And that's just it. And they think it's funny. It is funny to mock somebody, but you let them, had they said that about a Muslim and the Muslim religion, I mean, yeah, but it's okay to attack a Christian.
You know why it's okay? Doug, wait a minute. You know why it's okay is because we don't fight back. Verbally, we don't do a thing.
That's where I was going, because Christians are very forgiving, and we do not demand that you, or we do not demand you to be held to our standards.
I listened to a pastor a couple of years ago. It's been a couple of years, at least 3 years ago. And he kept espousing the fact that, we'll gain more ground in this anti-Christian movement if we don't say anything and we just let them go. That is the dumbest approach to any problem. When a cancer starts, it grows.
Yep, and evil succeeds when good does nothing.
That's right.
And I mean, but those gals, I was watching this morning on Fox, and there was a few comments come in, and one lady said it best, in just very few words. It says, "May God forgive you."
You know, that is a good way to look at it, but that doesn't take the problem and stop it, or at least put a halt to the movement. You know as well as I do, people that have this kind of an attitude of Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, etc., they are out to denigrate Christianity for 2 things. Number 1, they think it's good for their ratings of their silly little frivolous TV show, and number 2, it shows how much they hate people of faith.
Exactly. They're jealous. They're really jealous of people of faith when all they got to do is turn to God and give their life to God, and they could be blessed like everyone else that has.
I know I'm going to get criticized again. And again, Wheels, I'm getting too much feedback here. You got to watch that a little bit, please. I know I'm going to get a little feedback about this prayer and talking to Jesus and waiting to hear an answer. But I'll still revert back to Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. I think that sums it up.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And and they think Christians are weak and they can be pushed around. Look what happened in the Crusades.
Yep.
When they've had enough and they started praying, they stood up to evil and beat evil. And that's what's going to happen.
Doug, I will say this, and I think you'll agree with me, but we can't be complacent. We can't just sit back in the recliner and expect things to get better for not getting involved. I'm going to speak out. I want you to speak out. I think you will. And I want others to speak out. But we have to have the pastors at various churches and various denominations, like I said earlier, they've got to start growing some backbone.
Exactly. That's exactly it. We need to stand up and defeat evil, and that's what it is.
Absolutely.
It's evil. It's not political or anything such as that. It is evil. It is of the devil, and that's why they speak that. It's of the devil, and that's how he is going to take over.
I agree with you, Doug, and I know I've only got about 15 seconds left before a commercial, but go ahead, give us your spiel.
All right, let's take care of our seniors. Let's join, let's donate, let's do what we can to help them, because they need help, and one day, unfortunately, we'll be there, and we might need some help.
Absolutely. Doug, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. A good friend of the program right there, and a good friend in general. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, do you know about their restaurant? It is really good. And then do you know about their bakery? Oh, my goodness, it's exceptionally good. They can make wedding cakes, and they do catering, and all the rolls, and the bread, and the cookies. Oh, my. We give away a dozen cookies every Monday, thanks to Sophie's Chatterbox right here on the air. Mondays, 530 East Street, Sophie's Chatterbox. It's delicious. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm going to keep praying to my Lord, and I'm going to appreciate the time He's given me on this earth and the things that I get to do because of Him, because I would be nothing if I didn't have the Lord with me.
I totally agree.
People that criticize, people that believe in the God, in our God, just to me sound ludicrous. And there's several of them I've heard on TV, The View, and different places that, they don't have a good thing to say about people of religion.
Yeah.
And I've known a few people personally in this area that have, if they've got the fish on the back of their car, they're a horrible person. But, I don't see that. I don't see where they get it from. Most of them are very good people. They mind their own business. They try to be good to the country and good to everybody around them. They treat other people as they would like to be treated.
Absolutely. Jerry,
it just amazes me that they can run people down for believing in a God.
Yeah, and having a value system. I totally agree with you. I knew you were going to call. I've got the utmost respect for you and your family, and I thank you for all the calls and all the times you've supported all of our events. I know you're a good Christian man, and I thank you for your call this morning.
Okay, well, may the Lord bless you and your whole audience, and I hope they bless the people on The View, too. Hopefully they'll straighten their minds out and they'll learn that people of religion do care for them.
Absolutely. But I care for them, Jerry, but I'm not going to endorse or sanction them, and that's why I'm going to keep criticizing them.
Well, I couldn't endorse what they say either, because I don't believe in what they say.
Yeah.
What they say is horrible.
Absolutely.
And it's deplorable to run somebody else down it just tells me they don't feel very proud of themselves.
I think you're 100% right.
They wouldn't be running other people down.
Well, listen, Jerry, Lunch Bunch next Thursday. We'll see you there. Thank you, sir.
I'll probably stumble in there.
Okay, well, I will
If
too.
I don't stumble, I'll roll in.
Okay. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate it. God bless you, man.
You
Thanks.
have a great day.
All right.
May the Lord bless.
He has. Thank you. Oh, I tell you what. But we really have to speak up and speak out. Oh, man. I just get so upset that people of the clergy, they just kind of shine this on and keep turning the other cheek to the point where they look like bobblehead dolls. There's got to be a time and a reckoning to when we're not going to be ashamed to stand up and say who we are, why we are who we are, and stick our chin out and be proud. It may be even past time. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. I believe we're going to have him on the air tomorrow. And also 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli and the crew, and another location up in Nampa. Whoa, they are premier dealers of Bobcat and Doosan equipment, sales, service, and parts. They've got all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes, new and used excavators for sale or rent, all of this and so much more. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, all at Barry Equipment and Rental. Highway 30 in Burley, Addison Avenue West, Twin Falls, and in Nampa. Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Ed. Good morning to you, bud.
Yes, sir.
Yes, what I was going to say is on this little subject of prayer and Joy Behar, or her take on it and what have you. Totally 100% against that, because I know I can think of it myself so many times. When you first brought it up, I kept thinking so many times in my life that prayer had a huge integral part in my even being here.
Yes.
And so it's just so many instances. And then when I hear somebody like that belittling prayer, and so it just absolutely, I'm like you, I'm steamed. I'm absolutely steamed to hear it.
Well, I'm not going to back up ever on this program. And one thing about me, I guess I'm a big, rough German, that if I have my head set on something, I'm not going to change or alter my way. If I think I'm right, I'm going to stay on that course. I know I'm right when it comes to this, and I will never, ever back up.
We need more like you, Zeb. I mean, even the rest of us could sit and take an example from what your stand and the principles you take and everything, and try to apply them a little bit more to ourselves.
Well, I'm not a person I've got a lot of holes in my screen door. I'm a sinner just like everybody else, and I've got a lot of things that I'm sorry for, but I will tell you this. I pity the person, I pity the group that ever tries to denounce me as a Christian or my Christian faith, because they're going to see a fat man on crutches look like a whirlwind.
What a sight that would be.
Okay, sir. God bless you. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Yeah, they've messed in this arena with their criticizing and denouncing and making fun of religion. Now it's my turn to fight back. And I'm not turning the other cheek. I've got another story here that I absolutely want to get into, and it really saddened me this morning when I heard about this. It's about a California high school where the students, these are kids that have no clue. They're not 18, they're 16, 15, 14. The students decided to ban our national anthem because they say, these kids, never been anywhere, never done anything, they don't know anything, they have no idea about the world values or what's going on. These kids, wet behind the ears, probably drippy-nosed, are saying our national anthem is racist. So they want to stop it at all high school activities, pep rallies, etc. No more national anthem. I could not believe this when I heard this. Our national anthem is under attack now by a bunch of snot-nosed kids that don't know Khmer from Sikkim. They think that, and they had the seed planted, probably by some liberalized teacher with the IQ of sand, and they want to stop the national anthem because it's racist. That national anthem was written over 200 years ago, and the language of the day was in the language and the verbiage of this song. I take that, I respect it, and I honor it, and I treasure it. And here we have a bunch of kids that now are going to be basically kind of leaders, if you will, in a sick, perverted way, to have other kids that have no clue, and parents probably are as dumb as what the movement is, keep going and say, well, we can't have that national anthem. Why, that's racist. No, we can't have that. I have in my hand all 4 verses of the national anthem. I promise you that starting maybe next week, we are going to do more patriotic playing, if you will, of not just God Bless America with Kate Smith and then our Pledge of Allegiance, but I am also going to be putting in, on occasion, our national anthem. I'm not going to back up. I'm not going to listen to some liberal loon say, well, we've got to stop the national anthem, so I think we'll go and have America the Beautiful, or we'll write a new one. No. We've talked about this before. I am going to be one of the wildest and fightingest people you ever saw if these crackpots and weirdos try to change our national anthem. I've said it before. You're probably sick of hearing me say it. I've stood for the national anthem more times than most people in this country because of my job over the last 49 years of announcing special events all over the United States and in foreign countries, and at the Olympics in 1996. I am so proud of this country. And when I had to announce the winners of various activities at the Olympics, and thankfully, some of which were Americans that went to the middle top pedestal, and then that unfurling of the red, white, and blue came down behind them, and the playing of our national anthem, I'm damn sure proud of this country. And I cried, even though I've heard that anthem and the verbiage so many times. Leave our national anthem alone. And to these punk kids that haven't got a clue as to how the world goes around and around, and to their parents that let them be this way, I pity them. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Woe betide the person that wants to change the anthem on this program. I will climb through the phone line. Let's go to Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and get a quick weather forecast. Then I'd like to hear some of your feelings on what I just said. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call so they can diagnose perhaps the problems you're having with your hearing loss. 312-0957. Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell there to serve you at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for this Valentine's Day. Mother Nature could be showing us some love in the form of precipitation. We do have a slight chance of snow showers for today between 11 and 2 this afternoon. And winds are going to be picking up as well, becoming out of the west right around 17 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 43. Tonight, slight chance of rain or snow showers before 8 o'clock in the evening, low right near 29 for tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies and a high of 38. Mostly clear for tomorrow night, low of 24. And for Friday, partly sunny, high of 40. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. Mount Harrison Audiology cares about your hearing health goals and will work with you to provide the best care and answers possible. Get a hold of them today. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And let me have your thoughts. I only got into 2 stories this morning. I was so upset about what happened on that television show, if you want to call it that, The View yesterday, and then also these kids. 14, 15, 16 saying they want to cancel and ban the national anthem, and the school system listens to these punk snot-nosed kids. What is going on in this country? I know what I would do and say if I were the superintendent or the principal, and you as parents wouldn't like it at all. But there would be a toughness that would be prescribed for that situation. There would be a terseness to let them know that they ain't going to do something so stupid as that. And I don't care whose toes are stepped on. And it's about time we started stepping on toes, to be very honest with you. We've been so lenient and so leaning towards political correctness, we've forgot a value system of right and wrong, black and white, and we've started to color in the middle with a whole bunch of various shades, which makes us very stupid. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Big, 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 big. This means huge. The caller, I'll be right there. President's Sale going on now through next Monday, President's Day, at, of course, Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. They've got all the Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, KitchenAid. They're on sale at prices you can't believe. And you better get in there and check out all the great big bedding department, biggest in the Mini-Cash area, with sale prices unbelievable. And they have up to 18 months, same as cash, on approved credit. Get in there today at the big President's Day sale at Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's just me again. Deb, yesterday, I know what you're talking about, the national anthem. It was also something else I saw on TV last night, the rioting at Venezuela.
Yeah.
And when I heard that national anthem thing, that brought out just something that could actually happen in this country. All the rioting, the breakdown of law and order could happen in this country. You know, the younger generation doesn't have a clue. You know, and that's so true. And they're being led by the nose by liberalism that's going to lead them like lemmings over a cliff. And I know. I get these calls and they say, well, what makes you think you're right? Well, listen, I know I'm right. I know that sounds egotistical, but there is a right and a wrong. There is a standing up and pledging allegiance. There is a moral value of right and wrong in this country that we've got away from, and we better restore it, or we're going to go down the toilet. Well, I've been into a lot of foreign countries in my service time, and boy, I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of stuff going on, and I was glad to get back to the free United States. Amen. And we have to fight to keep it that way. Amen. I couldn't have said it better myself. Tony, God bless you for your call. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Bye. You know, I just hope and pray that these punk kids, and I'm not, please don't get me wrong, there's so many great kids, and they raised in excellent families, many of which I know right here. I mean, great young people coming up in the world. They've got goals and aspirations and talent to do certain things and go on to higher education and then have wonderful careers. But we have another side of the story that needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, it's a growing cancer in our society. Liberalism and absolute devastation to our values. Good morning, you're on the air.
You know, this thing with California, you know, the more I study what's going on in California, you know, that place is falling down, and it's falling down severely. And it does it it matter any city of any size in California is so mismanaged and ran by Democrats that they're all broke. They're all catering to illegals. They're perpetuating homelessness, and they're encouraging drug abuse.
Yep.
And the thing of it is this, it's just so rampant that the other day Rush Limbaugh said that in San Francisco that they had to give people maps so they could watch out for the piles of excrement. I know this sounds terrible. And you say, how could that be? Well, apparently it's true. I've seen some of it. And Kate Brown, the governor of Oregon, she has decided to, she called it an official crisis with the opioid heroin, between meth and heroin.
Well, Randy, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Wait a minute. Just let me interrupt you a minute. You made a point, and I don't want you to ramble. I want to jump in here. What you were talking, and I mean this seriously, what you were talking about in California, if you will take a picture or a video or remember what's going on in California right now, it's going to happen across the United States as a growing cancer if it's not stopped now.
Yes. They're coming to Idaho, and then they can't help themselves. They think they want to change Boise into Portland or Seattle or San Francisco. I'm going to tell you, Zeb, if you want to look at a mess and a fiscal mess, and the people, the teachers, the education system is so... They teach sexualism, environmentalism, communism. Those are what they're teaching in an indirect way. Does anybody's kids know anything down there?
I got to be honest with you.
No history if it slapped them in the face.
I agree with that.
I tell you, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I got another call waiting, but I want to tell you that your depiction of California is one that I'm very worried about that's going to start creeping, as I said earlier, like a cancerous growth into Washington State more than what it is, Oregon, eventually into the panhandle of Idaho, and then oozing down here. We'd better nip this thing in the bud right now. And I know I'm right when I say this. California is the poster child for filth and denigration of our society.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Got to run, Randy.
See ya.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Caller number 2, quickly. I've got about a minute and a half left.
Zeb, the only question I have that you got there, where is the school board? Why would they even bring up an issue like that?
Well, I
don't understand that. Where's the adults?
Where are the adults in this situation? Where are the adults in any situation anymore now when you hear these loony stories about kids, punk-nosed, snot-nosed kids, being a dictating issue to say we're going to stop the national anthem because they feel it's racist? You know doggone well that kids 13, 14, 15, 16, and even 17, they don't have a clue. They don't even know where their next peanut butter and jelly sandwich is going to come from. And these kids are telling the school district they want to ban our national anthem. I'm incensively mad about that.
Well, Zeb, that's what we got to do is get a hold of our adults that's supposed to be making these decisions. Why would it even be discussed? I'm as angry as you are. When the propaganda that they promote to these kids is just terrible.
Absolutely. Caller, I'm out of time, but I certainly do appreciate your call. God bless you, my dear friend. Thank you. Thank you. I had some other stories that I wanted to get into this morning about food stamps versus food boxes. I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. I think it's a great idea. And then I wanted to talk about illegal aliens. There was a loon on television last night that said and stated and stood up for the idea that more people, open borders is going to create a better economy here in the United States. And I thought, oh, please, make him lay down and take some aspirin, actually tape him down, because this lunatic absolutely is spewing some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Right now, I want to end the hour by saying our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, our major sponsor with over 475 locations all through the West. They are celebrating Founders Celebration in honor of Mr. Les Schwab. What a great man he was, and what a great business this is. All your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, the great buys on tires. Fantastic brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more. You stop in at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, where doing the right thing matters. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to run to the news. No, that's not true. I don't run. Maybe at a slow jog. But we're going to go over there right now to CBS. They're going to mess up everything we put together. We'll see you back in 7. And a good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. We're doing the right thing matters. And, of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. I know Wheels is doing a great job over there at the station, and he's got his finger poised to tell us more about our friends at Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Way Services, get on the route service. We've been on the route service, I think, for at least 6 or 7 years. My goodness sakes, they do a phenomenal job, and you can almost set your watch by the time they get there every week. I mean, they're great, they're efficient, and they care. Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Give them a call, 734-6969. And I also want to give tribute, and I mean that, to one of our advertisers that has been here a long time, and that's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And I'm going to give you the number right now, a number to remember. Put it where you can find it and get information on the pre-planning of funerals. They can and they will help you and your family. 436-5636. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, serving you always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call today, 436-5636. And Joel is also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. It is Wednesday, and I got a lot of things to talk to him about this morning, and I say good morning to author and great businessman, entrepreneur, Mr. Dave Bego. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm very upset this morning, and it wouldn't take much to light my fuse and have me really blow up. After I heard about what happened yesterday and then saw the net result of that television program, The View, with the despicable, disgusting Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg running down Vice President Pence because of his Christian religious values and his praying. If you haven't heard about this, you should have. What is your response?
Yeah, I saw a little bit on TV, and, this is typical of the far left, and they're trying to bring down this country and, turn us into a socialistic, communist country and eliminate God and religion. And, that is so sad to hear that stuff come out the day before Ash Wednesday, and, which is today. And these people, this is typical. They don't want anybody else to control things. They want to control things.
Well, it's, in my opinion, far more serious, because it absolutely is another nick into the armor, if you will, of Christianity, to where they want to see it go away. And her comments and her Looney Tunes attitude of denigrating Vice President Pence because he said, I pray to God and I talk with Jesus. I do that. I'm sure you do that. I'm not ashamed of it. And it was just something that I will not let go by.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, going back to what I said before, Zeb, is this is their ultimate goal, because socialism and communism, they don't want religion. They don't want God in our life. And they want to control everything and throw him out. And, I was just, I know Mike Pence, and Mike Pence is a good man, and he is a Christian man. And, it's sad that these people on that side are doing these things. It really is.
Well, this all started because of a very despicable person that used to work in the White House. I didn't like her for her media attachment to President Trump's former show, that reality show, You're Fired, etc. Omarosa started this, and it seems like this woman, all she wants to do is just spew hatred.
Yeah, it's trying to divide us, and that's part of Cloward and Piven's program, what they wrote to bring down this country. And they were communists at Columbia University when Obama was there, and they were professors. And part of bringing down this country was to divide us. And this gal is right on track with trying to do that.
Absolutely. I want to shift gears just a little bit, and I want to go to the fawning, if you will, of the Kim Jong-un's sister from North Korea at the Olympics. I'm going to tell you straight up. I despise the Washington Post. I despise the New York Times, CNN, and others that built her up to where she was the golden girl, she was the princess, and they absolutely denigrated Vice President Pence in his stay over there at the Olympics.
Yeah, Zeb, and again, if people go back and read my blogs, which I stopped writing about a year and a half ago, and I talk about Obama and the left and the people behind him, like Soros and the unions and that, the radical unions and that, they control the media, and their whole intent is to make the Republican Party and conservatives look bad, and again, fundamentally change this country. And we're going to continue to see this stuff. It's going to get worse, especially as we move ahead towards the midterm elections.
Well, wait a minute. They don't control this media. They don't control me. And I made the comment, you don't know a German that can get as ugly and mean as I can, because I don't like anybody downplaying or trying to denigrate my faith, my religion, and my family values. You've stepped on the wrong foot.
Well, no, Zeb, here's the thing is, I'm talking about the mainstream media, everything that people are watching on TV and that, and the newspapers and that. No, you do the right things, and I appreciate what you do. But most of the America, the biggest percentage of America, is watching these TV stations like you just talked about, and the left knows that, and that's how they know how to get in and brainwash people. I've been there. I've been through this stuff. They did the same things to me across the Midwest on radio program. Well, not radio programs, but TV stations and newspaper.
Dave, another story that it made me so mad this morning, I just about punched a hole in my office wall when I read about kids. Punk kids, and by the way, at the station wheels, we're getting that feedback again in the headset. You're going to have to help. Punk kids at California High School. And they decided, the student body decided, that they were going to cancel our national anthem because it's racist. And they did.
I know, Zeb, and again, this is, I'm sure this didn't come from the kids. I'm
Absolutely.
sure this came from the teachers and that. And, the teachers union is huge out in California, and they control, along with the SEIU, a lot of California. And I don't know if you saw, there was an article came out in California yesterday that the mass exodus from California is beginning. and that means people are getting tired of this stuff. And again, they're using the education system and the unions, the teachers, to change people's ideas and fundamentally divide this country and bring it down. And this is just all part of the agenda and the tactics.
Yeah, but you got to help me on this. Here are 14 through 17-year-old punk kids that don't know come here from Sikkim, like I said last hour. They're not dry behind the ears. They don't know anything about the world or even how to take self-responsibility to take care of themselves. And they're telling the school they're going to stop the national anthem? What's wrong with this picture?
Well, again, I'm sure it's because the teachers went to them and told them to do it. And, and the teachers probably told them lies and everything, why we should, you should get rid of the national anthem and why it's racist and all that kind of stuff. And that's what these people do. And, if you read, there's articles all the time about how the education system and basically the professors and high school teachers and that are union people are controlling what's going on and what these kids learn and how they think.
Yeah.
And Zeb, it's bad. And this is one thing I think the Trump administration needs to get a hold of is what's going on in our education system. And again, this goes back to the unions, and we got to get them out of the education system.
Absolutely. Another story, and I'm really anxious to get your opinion on this, and we're having that feedback come down the line in my headset, please, is there's been a proposal to eliminate just carte blanche giving food stamps to welfare recipients and maybe cutting back on the food stamps because there could be so many illegalities with the stamps of trying to cash them in, getting cash, or not using them for the right purpose, etc. And there's been a proposal maybe to provide food, actual food to the recipients and cut back on the food stamps. What are your thoughts on this issue?
Well, first of all, I think the food stamps and that should be cut back, and I do believe, and here in Indiana, they're actually instituting a bill that if you're on any of these type of things like food stamps or welfare things, that you're going to have to prove you are who you are, you've got your legal background, and they're going to start people to qualify, you're going to have to be working somewhere.
Yes.
You just can't be out there on all kind of welfare programs besides food stamps and living off the government totally.
Well, Dave, this is great that Indiana's doing this, and I hope that we do the same thing here in Idaho, because Kentucky, I believe, was the leader in starting this idea of, hey, wait a minute, if you're able-bodied and you're sitting to home basically doing nothing on American taxpayer dollars, get your dead butt up off that chair, go to work, or you're not going to eat. That's the premise and concept that this country needs to have.
Well, that's exactly right, and but you have to understand the Democrats, starting back with President Johnson, when they started going to all these welfare and entitlement programs and everything, the intent was not to help, and they'll say, well, this was for the black community and all that stuff, but in truth, they were racist about this. This wasn't really for the blacks. This was just to get the blacks on their sides to get their votes, and the black community needs to wake up to this fact that the Democrats really aren't for them. It's just like the union bosses when they go out and make these promises and try to do these things. It's for the membership. What it is for the Democratic Party, their own agenda, their pocketbook, just like the unions going in and unionizing, force unionizing people. It's for their own pocketbook and their political agenda.
And Dave, this is the part that just blows my mind. We have in this country 42 million people. Let me say that number again. 42 million people receiving food stamps. That number, 42 million, is a bigger population than most foreign countries.
Well, that's exactly right. And, part of that, too, are people that are here illegally that are getting this
That's
stuff.
right.
And that's why we have to control our immigration policy and close our borders, and we only let so many people in, and, it goes back to this whole thing where, these people want a one-world country, and where everybody gets things and everybody, the politics are the same, and it's run by socialistic, communistic type of people. And unfortunately, a lot of the religious groups agree to this and are preaching this too, and it's really sad. And it's time for them to wake up that, what America was founded on, the free markets and the capitalistic society, is made as the greatest country in the world, and other companies need to become a model of what America is if we want to help other people across the world.
Why in the world is this movement of no borders? Everybody come to the big kumbaya party we're going to have on Saturday night. We're going to hold it in America. Come on in. This is so filled with lunacy, with no borders. You're going to have total chaos, all kinds of corruption. You're not going to have any taxpayers. The whole world's going to live in a cancer-filled element of denigration. How in the world can this idea ever be perceived as being common sense?
Because, Zeb, and again, I come back to this because I've seen it. These people go out and they brainwash these people by telling them lies and misinformation and their promises and saying, oh, it's going to be so nice, you're not going to have to work very hard, you're going to get all this, and they start with the young kids and they move up through the millennials, and they even get it through some of the older people, and these people look at it and say, oh, that sounds good. We need to be a society like that instead of, I have to go out and work this hard and do all these things if I want to get anything. And this is what these people do. And when you look at, go back and you look at history with Stalin and Hitler and all those, these people did the same thing.
Right.
And, at the end of the day, America won. But they're trying to bring down America now from within.
Well, explain something to me, Dave. You and I, same age, and we've got a lot of the same goals and aspirations. We've lived through some of the same circumstances. How in the world can you make sense out of an argument I heard on television last night? And I looked at the screen and I thought, what in the world? This man lacks any common sense. There was a man on television last night that was absolutely pounding his fist on the desk and saying, the more illegal aliens and the more refugees we welcome in with a no-border campaign, the better our economy will be. I know you're a great businessman. Put some numbers to that, buddy.
Well, because you got a guy that's representing, and unfortunately there's businesses too, that they like to bring these people in and, pay them under the table, and they make half of what minimum wage is, and there's no payroll taxes because they're paying them cash or a blank check, and, no payroll taxes are being taken out. And that's how these people survive instead of going out and working hard and doing the right things and paying people right. And that's what people don't understand. And, they're filling people's minds with this baloney, okay?
Oh, boy, you scared me.
We got to continue to wake people up. And,
I agree.
I think companies are, and some companies are. I mean, we've picked up business in the last year where the business we picked up, they threw out cleaning companies that were using illegals, paying them under the table, and not paying any payroll taxes or anything like that. So there is some wake up coming, but we need to get more of it done.
Well, I'll say this, and I'm sure you heard this comment. It was made by Democratic loon Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, your sister neighboring state. He said, quote, we need more immigrants to do low-skilled jobs. You know what? That just exacerbates the problem, and we've got some Democrats just saying, hey, come on in, everybody, you're welcome here.
Well, here's the thing. This just tells you how the Democrats are. Do as I say, not as I do. On the other side of it, they're behind the unions, so the unions can unionize people, and these people make higher wages. And the truth is they want illegals to come in so that at some point they can unionize them. They can, again, they make higher wages, and then they charge them union dues, which goes into the Democratic Party.
Yep. Hey, I got a quick call. I've only got 3 minutes left in this segment. Caller, go ahead quickly. You're on the air. Fast.
Well, quickly, like Dave said, paying them under the table, I've said this before, in Los Angeles County, there are upwards of 2 million. You know, they have an underground economy. They don't pay any taxes. They don't have any insurance. They drive without insurance, without driver's licenses. They are totally illegal, and there's no source of money going to the government. And this is happening more and more across bigger cities. Big cities across the nation. It isn't just Los Angeles where this is occurring, and this is the kind of chaos that is going to destroy us if we don't stop it. Oh, hang on.
All right, Dave, respond to the caller, please.
Well, he's exactly right, and this is what I've talked about many times. And the thing is, you see it mostly in the large liberal cities like, of course, out in Los Angeles and all of California and Chicago and New York, and, you just go on. And, and they keep passing laws to protect these people, illegals, and to protect the unions at the same time. It's hypocritical. And I urge people to look at both sides of the story. Look at one side, they want the immigrants in here, and they want to give people everything and all this kind of stuff. But on the other side, they're passing laws that allow the unions to control and force unionized people and control things. And it's just getting into people's minds and brainwashing them so they can control them.
Absolutely. I'm kind of sorry in a way that I took my wrath out on you this morning, but it was good to have you on the program.
Well, that's okay. You didn't bother me at all, except for when you said that we're about the same age. I think you're a little older than I am.
Okay, cut to the quick. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Take the knife out of my back when you leave, would you please? Dave Bigo.
Right now. You have a good week.
All right. God bless you, man. Thanks so much. Dave Bigo, Indianapolis, Indiana. A very, very good friend. I appreciate him. Thank you so much. Right now, I want to remind you about a great big spring consignment sale that's going to be managed by the Minidoka County Fairgrounds by Rogge Auction Company. These are wonderful people. Caller, I'll be there in a minute. Hang on. And they're putting this sale together right now, and they're taking consignments on farm equipment, four-wheelers, panels, tractors. No household goods or tires. No. Call Ron Rogge at 431-6187 or Cade Rogge at 431-0074. Great big spring consignment sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds on March 24th, managed by Rogge Auction Company. Really, really good people. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I've just got to get this on, and I want to talk a little bit about all the good happenings that are happening over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Are you looking for a brand new recliner? If you are, you better get in there and check it out. They've got a great big supply, I guess I could say, of great recliners at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. I urge you to get in there, and don't forget, too, they're going to have a huge, that means really big, 3-day President's Day sale. It starts this Friday, goes through Saturday, and then Monday, 40% off the entire furniture inventory. 40%. I'm not kidding. Stop in and see Jeff and the whole crew at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Caller, I've got 2 minutes. Real fast. Go ahead, please.
Well, I just have a question. Why can't they cut the money off of those places? The cities, the states, cut them off, bankrupt them, put them out of business.
Well, the first thing I think they ought to do, and I'm going to sound even more harsh than you, is I'm saying they ought to arrest the mayors of the various cities, like Rahm Emanuel in Chicago and Bill de Blasio in New York, and start to clean the cesspool up from the top down.
There you go. I'd go for that, too. But they'd do it all.
Yes, sir. You and I are on the same page. Hey, thank you for your call this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Yeah, he's 100% right. Cut the money off. That's the same as cutting the head off the snake. I am so sick and tired of this denigration of America, especially starting in cities like L.A., San Francisco, Chicago. Chicago's a mess. Chicago is a mess, and I don't care what anybody says. You get over to parts of Chicago, and you literally are signing your own death certificate by going there. And we're going to have a man on from Chicago in just a moment. Right now, I also want to remind you about our friends over at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And I want to stress the fact that they've got all the snow machines. You waited till now to find out about a snowmobile? They've got them over there at Let's Ride. Enjoy the great outdoors. And they've got all the four-wheelers and the side-by-sides. And if you have not got your four-wheeler lined up for service for this spring, call their service department right now, 436-4771. Great service department, all the accessories, everything, where the fun is sold. That's at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24, between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness sakes. Also over in that same neck of the woods, we're very proud to say that these folks have been with us for a long time on the program. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for you, your family, your business. And the only thing you have to do is literally pick up the phone and call them and make an appointment, and they are dedicated to serving you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. Right now, I am honored to have this man on my program. He tells it like it is, and I'm looking forward to our interview about so-called climate change and so-called global warming. I say a good morning again to James Taylor with the Heartland Institute in the Midwest. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Doing well. How are you?
James, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the air, because you are a voice of sound reason in a vast wasteland of liberal lunacy. And I want to talk a little bit about global warming and climate change, to the point where I've got some questions lined up. And if you could kind of give me some rapid-fire answers to these before we run out of time, I'd really appreciate it. It seems like in the newspapers and on television there is a full court press right now to denigrate anybody that does not agree with climate change, does not agree that it's all man-made, and they seem like they want to keep taking away from humanity and put us back into a caveman attitude. Am I wrong on this perception, or do you see the same thing?
Well, there certainly is a concerted effort to paint anybody who disagrees with the assertion that humans are causing a climate crisis, to paint them as somebody who's uneducated or who is just politically motivated. And such characterization is far from accurate.
Okay, now let's start with carbon dioxide this morning. Kind of like the Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Really, carbon dioxide is a very important source for humans and plant growth. Tell us why they're so dead set, they being the left, to kill and malign carbon dioxide.
Wow, there are so many reasons for this, but if I had to boil it down in terms of the political arguments against or the propaganda against, it's simply this. Carbon dioxide is emitted when oil, natural gas, coal are converted into energy. And the environmental far left has always been opposed to these energy sources because they want a world that runs on wind turbines and solar panels, which is simply not feasible. So essentially, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. If you put more in the atmosphere, all things being equal, you will see some warming. But that doesn't mean that you are going to see warming that is going to cause a crisis, warming that is going to cause all sorts of horror. But nevertheless, if the environmental left can paint it that way, then they can have a new vehicle for doing what they've been trying to do since long before global warming was brought into the public consciousness, and that is to ban oil, coal, natural gas.
Okay, now when you say that, I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that. For what purpose? What kind of a social environment do they want? Do they want us all to live in caves and burn buffalo dung and beat animals over the head with a club to get our daily meal? What do they want?
Well, I think that's a little bit of stretching it, but you're on the right path. Because for these people, they just see any human effect on the earth as being horrible. They see human beings as being a negative factor, not just on the environment, but just in general. For so many of these people, we should have zero impact, and this is just one more manifestation of that.
Okay, now I'm going to say this, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, but according to some of the charts and some of the graphs and studies and stories that I have here in front of me, they, being the liberal left loons and the Democrats and those that want to see climate change and all the blame put on mankind, they say we're getting warmer. And according to what I've got, we basically in the world in many, many parts of the compass are going into a cooling trend. Is it cyclical, and am I wrong?
Well, there have always been cycles in terms of temperatures rising and falling. Since roughly the beginning of the century, the planet, according to I think the most reliable temperature models or temperature reports are those coming from satellites. These are not corrupted by urban heat islands. They're not corrupted by humans adjusting temperatures. According to the satellite data, we underwent a period of about 15 years in which temperatures remained flat, perhaps slightly cooled. We may be rising out of that. Temperatures have risen a little bit. But look, we can expect some warming to occur as a result of carbon dioxide emissions against the backdrop of what the natural climate would be doing anyway. Temperatures still could cool if there was a natural cooling trend that was stronger than the carbon dioxide signal. Temperatures could rise more than would be the case. But it's important to understand that, as you said, there have been cycles. And over the past several thousand years, for most of that time, temperatures have been warmer than today. For most of the time that humans have existed and created civilizations, for most of the time that humans have lived in cities, that humans have developed agriculture, that humans have lived in the types of activities that one would define as civilization, temperatures have been warmer than today. And even with those technologies of 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, with such limited technologies compared to today, under those warmer temperatures, humans thrived.
Okay, now, I want to say this, and Wheels, can you boost him up just a little bit in my ears when he's talking? I'd appreciate it. We have a kind of a faint phone line here this morning. But I will say this. Recently, a Princeton physicist said that the climate models don't work. They haven't worked in the past, and he said they don't work now. And he said for the past 30 years, climate predictions have been wrong and overstated. I am not going to trust the Al Gores of the world. I am not going to trust the Leonardo DiCaprios, because this Princeton physicist said we've been lied to, and they've been actually inflating their figures.
So the models that have been put forth from the United Nations and others, what they predicted when we first started hearing about this global warming crisis back in the late 1980s, they made projections and predictions about temperature. And although we have warmed since then, we have warmed at most at about half of what they predicted. And every time that the real world temperatures do not match their predictions of such strong temperature rise, then they go back and they fiddle around and they adjust things and they kind of hindcast and they say, oh, but now our model's perfect because now it's got it right. And so then a few more years go by, 5, 10 years go by, and again they predict more warming than occurs, and they keep fiddling around and they claim their models are so accurate. But their models have always predicted much more warming than has occurred in the real world.
Absolutely.
And what that leads us to believe is that they are assigning too much weight to carbon dioxide. It is a greenhouse gas, but it is not warming the earth as much as they say.
You know, right there, I'm going to throw this at you because, James, you've heard it before. Probably you and I have talked about it on this program before. What do they want? What do they consider optimum? What do they consider the temperature should be all around the globe? When did they appoint themselves as God?
What they want is a world in which there is no oil, coal, or natural gas that is burned. They want a world in which they see zero or close to zero human footprint. It's not that they look at a temperature and say, this is too warm, this is too cold. They look at a temperature that can have any impact from human beings, and beyond that, they look at a world and an economy in which there is human impact, and they see that as evil. So global warming is one means by which they try to meet that goal.
There was a letter in our newspaper, the illustrious Times News, this morning, and I'm going to read you a portion of that letter, and I want you to respond to it. And I quote, "Wind and solar power has reached cost parity with natural gas and is cheaper than coal. Clean energy is creating more jobs than dirty energy." Your turn. Rebut that, please.
Well, notice there aren't any data that are supplied to back that up.
That's right.
However, the Brookings Institution, which is a left-of-center public policy organization, which has been very supportive, as one might have expected, of a left-of-center public policy organization, of renewable energy. And this is pretty much the premier center-left public policy organization in America. They have published a study. And what they find is that when you replace conventional power with wind power, what you can expect is an increase in electricity prices of between 50 and 100%.
That's right.
When you replace conventional power with solar power, what you get is a tripling of electricity costs. They back this up with data, and this is data that is not something that they were hoping to find. So when people come out, we hear this all the time from the renewable energy apologists. Without citing data, they say, oh, it's the same price or less expensive. No, the data show just the opposite. And even if you're not familiar with the data, use common sense. If wind and solar power were the same price or less expensive than conventional power, don't you think that perhaps the energy companies, the public utilities commissions that are dominated by leftists throughout the country would say we are going to have wind and solar power? There is a reason why there is so little solar power. There's a reason why there is so little wind power. And to the extent that we have even that little bit, it's mostly driven by government mandates that require us to purchase the product.
Absolutely.
If they were the same price, we wouldn't need to put laws into place requiring people to purchase wind and solar.
The person that wrote this letter to our paper here in Idaho lived down in California, which says a lot for their mental stability anyway. And the quote that I really was incensed by, and I wanted to have you rebut, was wind and solar power has reached cost parity. No, it has not. Wind power, for instance, those turbines will never pay for themselves. We have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air. Thank you.
Well, David Berlinski is one of the most highly respected academics on Earth, and he was asked about global warming, and he said, who knows? Not me for sure, but what I do know is that climate science is and has been in the hands of intellectual mediocrities and pious charlatans. And, boy, is that not the truth?
I agree with that statement. Let's have James respond. James, please respond to the caller. Go ahead, please.
That's a good observation. And it's also important to note that whenever we hear from these scientists, these climate scientists that we hear about that are always either working for the government or are funded by government grants to their universities or to their specific studies, that's one thing to keep in mind, is that the folks that the media quote all the time and say are these climate experts, the only reason they have a job and the only reason their job continues is the perpetuation of the assertion that humans are causing a global warming crisis. For the vast majority of people that are worshipped by the news media as being these climate experts, the moment that they report that we're not facing a climate crisis, the moment their jobs and their careers vanish.
Absolutely. James, with your professional expertise in studying this and being able to speak on this so eloquently, are we, the United States and its citizenry, are we headed down a very dark trail of having to be imposed upon with a carbon footprint or a carbon card, and every single thing we use we're going to be taxed for?
Well, there are many folks that are pushing for this carbon tax right now. And it is ironic that, as, for example, Will Happer at Princeton University, who you referenced earlier, as his organization points out, that carbon dioxide is necessary for life on Earth. There's a reason why in greenhouses they pump in carbon dioxide. It enhances plant growth. Despite what you hear about these predictions of drought, of famine, of crop failures, we know that in the real world, we set in the United States and globally agricultural production records virtually every year for a large percentage, and in many years a majority of major crops. When we hear about all these doom and gloom predictions, in reality, there's quite a few benefits to carbon dioxide. Now, if the worst of the temperature predictions comes to fruition, yes, that would have negative consequences. However, when we look at the real-world evidence, we see a very modest warming that still has us in temperatures that are below what the Earth has been used to over the past few thousand years.
James, what do you see or what do you hear when you go around the country and you speak, or people there in your area? Are they really that concerned with where we are on what they call climate change or global warming? Or is this basically a big balloon blown up by the liberal Democrats and nobody else really cares?
Well, it depends who you talk to, and I believe that the biggest mistake the environmental left did in this issue back about a decade ago, a little over a decade ago, when they had an opportunity to propagandize and make it seem like this was a nonpartisan science issue, was they elevated Al Gore to their position of leadership on the issue. And although it was a blunder on their part, it was a natural progression of their propaganda efforts, because it is propaganda, the notion that we're creating this climate crisis. And once Al Gore became the spokesperson for that, people saw and understood, okay, this is politics, this is a political issue, this is someone that, if you are going to believe in this, well, yeah, it's Al Gore speaking.
Yeah, and I want to go back again and give you another quote that I'd like you to elaborate on. Our wonderful Times News newspaper in a Sunday op-ed a week ago said, climate change, according to the overwhelming majority of scientists and peer-reviewed research and anyone who can read temperature graphs, is real. What would you do to respond to that?
Well, if you take that statement at its bare face value, it's true, because the climate is always changing and always has changed. However, I think what the newspaper was getting at and trying to embed in people's minds is the notion that humans are creating a global warming crisis. Because I get this all the time. You've heard me say just now that the Earth's climate is always changing. You've heard me say during this segment that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and all things being equal, we can expect some warming due to our activities. And even as I say that, people from the media will say, but still, how can you deny that global warming is real? How can you deny that climate change is real? And what they try to do is conflate a scientific notion, climate change, climate science, with their own propaganda and political messaging, which is that humans are creating a global warming crisis. And so to the extent that that editorial is trying to push the notion that humans are creating a global warming crisis, the climate models that predict that have been proven wrong. And when they claim that the overwhelming number of scientists, et cetera, believe this, they don't have any studies or data or studies based on data, any hard data that supports that. To the extent that there have been hard studies of scientists on the topic, the only scientific society whose members were surveyed on this topic is the American Meteorological Society. And twice under surveys of the American Meteorological Society, the majority of their members, the scientists themselves, when the entirety of the membership were polled, did not believe humans are creating a global warming crisis. That, by the way, is in contrast to what their bureaucracy put out in a statement claiming that humans are creating all sorts of horrors due to climate change. The scientists themselves said the opposite.
While I have you, and we're down to the last minute or two, but James, I want to have you explain a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the people that you work for, Heartland Institute. Give us a little background there, please.
Sure. The Heartland Institute is a public policy organization that is committed to free markets, that's committed to individual liberty. And the reason why the Heartland Institute and other so-called conservatives, were really more free market, but conservative public policy organizations got involved in the topic, is global warming. Once it became a public issue, the proposed solutions always involved restricted energy freedom, always involved imposing costly energy options on the American public that would have all sorts of negative consequences. And when something like that is proposed, we like to look under the hood to make sure it's necessary. If we're destroying the planet, well, of course we have to pay the price to make sure the planet doesn't get destroyed. But if this notion that we need to eliminate oil, coal, natural gas, etc., is being used for ulterior purposes, which is so often the case, which appears to be the case here, well, then we get involved to point out the facts.
You're the best. James Taylor, God bless you, man. Heartland Institute, it's always a treat to have you on the program. Thank you for your time this morning, and come back soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zeb.
You bet. Take care. A gentleman that I call a friend, and I've called on him many times to come on our program, and I talked to him yesterday on the phone, and I says, really, I want to get into this because our own local newspaper seems to denigrate anybody or everybody that doesn't fall right in lockstep like a lemming going over a cliff and believing in climate change or global warming. And then some of the idiotic statements that are made, like from that letter writer in California saying wind and solar power has reached cost parity, that is a lie. That is an absolute desperate lie to sway public opinion, and I won't stand for it. When I see and read these things or hear these things, I'm going to put them on my radio program, and I'm going to call these people out. That and other statements that we talked about here this morning are lies. We're going to have a weather forecast real quick. And weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. That's right. Tax return preparation, and now is the time. You better gather up everything and get an appointment. Get ready. Tax season. Yep, it is. Tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and more with 2 locations to serve you. One in Burley, one in Rupert, and they are the best. I know, because that's where I go. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for this Valentine's Day. Mother Nature could be showing us some love in the form of precipitation. We do have a slight chance of snow showers for today between 11 and 2 this afternoon. And winds are going to be picking up as well, becoming out of the west right around 17 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 43. Tonight, slight chance of rain or snow showers before 8 o'clock in the evening, low right near 29. For tomorrow, looks like sunny skies and a high of 38, mostly clear for tomorrow night, low of 24. And for Friday, partly sunny, high of 40. That's your weather forecast for Zebedee.
She does a great job putting everything together on our weather forecast. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, our sponsor. And, boy, I'm telling you, they are there to serve you. They can help people starting a business or a corporation, or maybe you want to expand a little bit and hire more employees. You've got the questions, they will find the answers for you. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. We've got time for a phone call or two. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. Coming up next hour, we have, and I think he's hovering over the house right now, and that's the Incredible Hulk, and that's going to be Kelton Hatch with the great Idaho Fish and Game Report for this month. He'll be in the studio. But I've got time for a call or two right now. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Thank you.
Top of the morning, laddie.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm turned down. I like that plan for the welfare to send out the food.
I do too.
I think it is fabulous. And also, I expected the response from the left to be that we hate people because we're requiring them to cook for themselves.
Well, no, wait a minute. Some of the response was exactly what I thought it would be by some of these liberal loons. Some of the Democrats came out and said, well, there you go. You're just trying to lower people even more by telling them what they have to eat. And my response to that is, you liberal loons, these people are using our tax dollars from people that get up in the morning, go to work, pay their bills, and you're taking a percentage of that money to feed these people, and they're too damn lazy to get up and fend for themselves and get a job. They will take what is offered.
Well, I remember years and years ago when the welfare first come out, you'd go and they'd give you a bag of rice, they'd give you a bunch of cheese, they would give you a bunch of powdered milk and some beans, and you were on your way. That was your food, your staples.
Why is it, honestly, and this is just driving me nuts, why is it that people that are on the dole, and there are many people that are on welfare programs that have to be on because of physical problems or whatever, but there is a large percentage of that 42 million on food stamps that are physically able and could and should go to work and support themselves. Why are we as a society allowing that 42 million to grow?
That's just it. We shouldn't. Welfare should be what it was intended for, is a hand up. Once you get 3 and 4 generations on welfare, I mean, that's all they lived on was welfare their whole life.
Yep.
There is a problem, and they need to be weaned off of it. These people that are on welfare and have been on it all their life have no idea of what gratitude you can get when you go out and work for something and earn something and you get it, how much more you appreciate it than when it's just handed to you.
You know, there's a 5-letter word, and I'll stand behind this. There's a 5-letter word in our society that is gone. It's gone. And that 5-letter word is pride. Pride. People have lost personal pride in being self-reliant, self-responsible, and I think it's about time to let the door hit them in the butt on the way out.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And they need to learn to fend for themselves. I mean, it's sad that we've created this, but somebody's got to be the adult in the room and put an end to it.
Well, if they don't like the Quaker oats that's in that box, if they don't like the whole wheat bread that is in that box, if they don't like the cans of green beans that are in that box, then I suggest get to work and buy more on your own.
Yes, sir. Well, I just had a customer come in.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. He had a customer, and I've got the CBS News lurking in the background, and we're going to have them up next. And then, I'm sure he's out in the driveway. The Incredible Bulk, yes, Kelton Hatch. He always has a great report. We missed him last month. He wasn't here. And I wouldn't say that we missed him. I don't want to feed his ego, but we're looking forward to having him back here this morning. Idaho Fish and Game Report, and your calls are welcome. Thank you for tuning us in, and don't forget, if you want my Cow Pies and Coffee Cups weekly blog, Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. Why am I having a hard time saying that? I want to say Coffee Pucks. Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. Just go to my website, zebbell.com, and plug it in, give us your address, we'll send it to you. Holy cow. Coffee Cups. All right. The news from CBS. Pardon me for taking so long to come back, but I was being threatened by the green Incredible Hulk. No, I'm kidding. He came in, and he's been very, very nice. I'm not going to turn your microphone on because I know doggone well you're going to say something snide. And, of course, Zeb at the Ranch, and I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you and some of our great advertisers, including, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. You know, I don't want to say this and have you take it the wrong way, but we kind of missed you last month.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
Don't go getting gushy or anything, for heaven's sake.
That's about as gushy as it's going to get right there.
That's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, but you kind of got you're like athlete's foot. We got accustomed to the itch.
Got used to the itch. Yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing. I had a really good day not being here. So.
Well, thank you. I understand you were up hunting.
Yeah. Well, a guy has to do what a guy has to do.
Everybody thought, he's working so hard. He's out in the field. Yeah, you were out in the field, all right.
I was. Yeah. Well, you know,
carrying old Betsy,
going for a little walk, going for an armed hike.
Did old Betsy fire?
Oh, she barks all the time. You know, she just
Tip
doesn't.
that up a little bit more.
She sometimes just doesn't get what she's barking at.
Oh, really? So are you saying that maybe you're not the shot you thought you were?
In my mind, I am. You know, yeah, I pull a shotgun up and anything's supposed to drop out of the sky every time.
Really?
Not all the time.
Well, it's good to have you back. What new earth-shattering events are happening?
You know, it's my favorite time of year.
Why is that?
Because it's meetings after meetings after. It's just this.
And you're lying to me.
I am. It's being sarcastic.
You know, I would imagine though the reason, and I'm surmising that this is one of the reasons you got into the fishing game, is because you love the outdoors.
Yeah.
You love being outdoors.
I do.
And you love everything that's with the outdoors, hunting, fishing, and everything else. And then when you come to this time of the year and you have to sit in a 12 by 18 room and have a meeting, that must drive you nuts.
It about wears you out. I mean, you know, but it's good because it helps us get the planning for the next year, and it gives us the meeting that we're doing right now is we're scoping the fish management plan.
Scoping.
We want to we're talking to sportsmen about what we're doing okay for fisheries and what we're not doing okay on and what they would like to see changed.
Okay.
And this is going to be a 5-year management plan. We're in just the beginning. If there's something you folks would like to see different out there, you know, and that's the thing. I shouldn't be so negative because we do learn a lot from these meetings.
Yeah,
they're really good. It plans it for the year, but so we've got meetings on that, and then you take all the information and compile it, and then we'll come up with some ideas, and then we'll come back and have another set of meetings to see what the people think of the ideas that were generated from this first set of meetings.
You have a meeting to generate another meeting.
Pretty much. Because the way the scoping process goes, Zeb, is what we do is we go to the general public first.
Yeah.
And we say, what do you want to see changed?
Okay.
And so we take all the comments. Mid-March, this month, online, we're going to have online comments. You can call us at the regional office at 324-4359.
See,
look at you.
I'm quick.
And then February 21st at the RO at our regional office over here.
Right.
We're having a meeting from 1 to 8. Any time of that time of day, just stop in and come in and talk to us.
Okay, but now let's define this a little bit. Maybe we can plant some seeds of thought out there in the audience. What kinds of items or fields of thought do you want people to be aware of and maybe have some contribution to make it better?
Well, do you like... I've had calls before on bass sizes. Is the bass size okay? You know,
what do you mean by that?
Well,
the taking
of bass. You know, you can't keep a bass that's over, I think, under 13 inches. And so, is that working for you guys?
Yeah.
Would you like to see something different? What about bag limits? Is 6 rainbow trout too many at Oakley Reservoir? You know, or how are the walleye doing? Are we wanting to push more walleye over there? Are we wanting to get away from that? What would you guys like to see in your fisheries? So anything, you know, is there something you would like to see changed in our regulations?
Yeah.
The method of take? You know, and it doesn't have to be just here. I mean, a lot of folks go up in Sun Valley. Would you like to see something different done on our streams up there?
Do you find a lot of these ideas every year there's changes? Or?
Well, this is kind of a big year this year because we're doing the 5-year management plan. Plus, we're also doing the regulations. So we're setting regs for the next 2 years, and then we're also doing a management plan for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And so this gives us what we do is, and then the fisheries guys will, depending on the direction the management plan goes, they'll start working on going that direction to move the fisheries to that type of thing that the sportsmen would like to see.
All right.
But we've got to get those comments. And then after people come in and give us all these comments, we can't scope everything that people give us. We can't take that. I mean, we can't typically make all the changes. But a lot of times people say this, and it's close enough to what someone else, we kind of combined all that stuff and come up with what we feel is the best plan from all the information we've gathered, and then we bring that back to the sportsman and say, is this what you're really looking for like this?
So they really do have a voice in what happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, it never, you know, I talk all the time and I tell them what I want and it never happens. Well, it's probably because you've got 100 other people telling us something else that's a little different.
Yeah.
But we go through every comment. We try to bring it down to its basic premise, what you really want to see happen, and then we have to combine it with the other comments, and hopefully we come up with a plan that works for everybody. And that's our goal, because after we do this, we'll go through it again. We take it to the commission. The commission looks at it and say, you bet, these look like good ideas. Let's scope these with the public. We go back to the public again, and they look at it and they go, yeah, this is the way I want to see it. If we're going to change something, let's do it this way. And then the majority rules.
Right.
And we give it to, this is what the sportsman said. We tell the commission that, and they sit down in their meeting, and they either change it or they don't.
Okay, I'm going to have you bend that up just a little bit more. For some reason, we're not getting all of your cold.
All of my voice.
All of your voice. Had the flu, didn't you?
Oh, man.
I heard you were really sick.
If you get it, stay away from everybody.
How long ago did you have it so that I know you're not in here making me sick?
Well, it should be... I came back to work on Monday, and I'd been sick for 9 days pretty much straight.
Oh,
it was like...
You were down and out, weren't you?
Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah, I heard it was bad.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
I've never had a cold like that, and so...
I felt sorry for your wife. I really did. I mean, having Smokey the Bear laying around in the house all day long, how ugly is that?
Well, I was a grumpy Smokey.
Now, the fisheries public meeting, stress again where and when.
Okay. The first one's going to be February 21st from 1 to 8 p.m. Anytime during those hours. So if you're over in the Jerome area, swing in and talk to us. If you can't make that one, we're having another one up in Blaine County at the community campus, and that's going to be the next day from 5 to 9.
Okay.
And if you can't get there, call us at the office and talk to Doug McGargle.
Good old Dougie.
Good old Dougie. Or you can go online.
He didn't fall through the ice this winter, did he?
He didn't.
Oh, okay.
Dougie's been so busy that I don't know that he made it ice fishing.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got 2 little girls that are time and, family and work. And
I would sure hate to think that he didn't get a chance to go fishing that he promised to take me 7 years ago.
I won't even comment on that. I think he's trying to tell you something, Zeb.
I'll make the hole in the ice.
You make the hole in the
Right.
Here, Doug, this way.
Now, what's this about a fishing roundup? What do you mean? Are you going to have a great big rope and gather things, or what?
No, we're going to just talk about what's going on in fisheries.
I see.
I see. I was just going to talk about, fishing right now is kind of hit or miss.
Isn't it always?
It is, but it's more so in the spring.
Really?
Because, you got changing in water temperatures and changing in air pressures, and one day is really cold and the next day is really warm.
Yeah.
Salmon Falls
Creek. And the quality of the water changes, too.
It does.
Yeah.
Depending on runoff. We're not going to get a lot of runoff this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't get much snowpack in the mountains. But, Salmon Falls Creek a few weeks ago was just red hot.
Really?
Oakley had been fishing really well. Littlewood's been reservoir before the ice. There's still some ice on there, so you have to be really careful. I personally wouldn't go out on it if there's not 14 foot of ice. I have a rough time.
14 foot?
I'm being a little facetious on that, but I do like thicker ice.
I do like your thinking, though.
And my truck doesn't go out there even if it's really thick.
Why is it that people will see ice and they think, oh, it's okay, and then drive, and then all of a sudden they start to bubble?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
There's a Darwin thing in there somewhere.
The missing link.
Yeah. But the fishing has been good up there. Been running at least a fish an hour all winter.
Was it you that was telling me somebody cracked through the ice over here at Murtaugh Lake about a month and a half ago?
It wasn't me, but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me at all because, we get people that they just push those limits. And the thing is, you got to realize, I don't mind walking on a good, thick thing of ice, but I like having, those old spud bars for tamping posts in and stuff.
Yep.
I like taking that with me, and I figure if I hit the ice in front of me and that goes through, it's probably too soft for me.
You probably better be beating a hasty exit.
Yes.
Yeah. Lay down and crawl.
Crawl.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And so I've just never wanted to go swimming in a lake through a hole.
I was raised in the ice fishing capital of the world back there in the Midwest, and I think they're nuts.
Well, yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
Well, they've got their diesel pickups out there with their trailer house.
Trailer houses.
And it's like, yeah.
And it might be March. Literally, it'd be next month. They'll still be out on Lake Koshkonong. And then a lot of them go through the ice and they go, oh, better call the insurance agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just don't understand that. But, it's good time of year to get out. I was going to say Oster Ponds,
Where is
and Riley
that?
Pond.
Where is
That's over in Hagerman. It's down at our state fish hatchery. A lot of people like fishing over there. If you're looking for a place to get your kids into some fish and you just want to have a kind of relaxing day, we've got these ponds down there. We stock them twice a week. Riley Pond, and then we've got Osters 1 through 5. All stocked with trout. Some of them got some bluegill. Later on, the Riley ponds, after June, will open, and they've got bass and bluegill and stuff like that. But they open this week. It's crazy, bud. We have people beginning fishing at midnight, March 1st down
No
there.
kidding.
They've been waiting.
March 1st?
January, February,
Standing
March.
outside.
Standing outside.
By a pond of water.
At midnight. Because that's when it opens.
Have you really checked to see if these people should be left alone?
Well, it's crazy to me, but it's it's our old Memorial Day opener. When you used to, yeah, a lot of people just love going down there. We put a lot of fish into the system.
Build a fire.
Yeah, well, not really build a fire because it's not that kind of a. They're pretty.
They sit in the cold, dark.
Sit in the cold, dark, and fish. It's kind of like you out roping in the cold sun.
No, that's entirely different.
That's entirely different. I'm not crazy just because it's 30-mile-an-hour wind and it's 10 below zero.
Of course I can't see because the dust is in my eyes. And what's this about a controlled bear hunt application?
Well, we have a few controlled bear hunts.
That's tomorrow it closes.
It closes tomorrow. We have units 22 and 32 controlled units over by on the Idaho-Oregon border. Those are the only two controlled bear hunts in the state of Idaho. They're quite popular for people to put in for, and so I was just going to mention tomorrow's the last day to do that. The rest of the state's pretty much over-the-counter bear tags. We actually have some of the state that's 2 bear tags. So if central Idaho and stuff like that.
Do you get a lot of people applying for that?
We do. We get a ton of people applying for those controlled hunts over the bears have a tendency to be a little bit bigger just because, and they're easier access. There's more roads and stuff over there to get around, and big open country.
I never really thought it was a lot of fun to stalk something that wants to eat you.
Yeah, well, makes it more of a challenge if you take it. But no. Tomorrow's the last day for that. So if you're interested in putting in for that, or you forgot about it,
how many do they take in the state?
Oh, I can't even remember, Zeb. That's a good question. I'll see if I can't figure it. I'm guessing close to 1,500 to 2,000.
Really, that many? In a concentrated area?
No, because, we've got bears. We've got good bear populations, down the Idaho-Wyoming border, all the way from, Montpelier, clear up to Island Park, across, following all the way up along the edge of Montana. All of central Idaho. Really about the only place we don't have bears in the state is, from Dietrich to Nevada.
Now, okay, you brought it up. I had somebody swear and tell me that they saw a bear up in the South Hills.
And we've had those reports.
Going through?
Yeah, well, probably trying to find a place, to hang out and stuff. And, it would be viable bear habitat. We just don't have a huntable population in that area.
Okay. Controlled turkey apps close the end of February.
Yeah, and so you folks that like to hunt that Oakley hunt, the Rio Grandes down there.
Oh, wait a minute. That brings to mind something you did a year ago and forgot to come to the program.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And forgot to be here on the program. You were actually out chasing turkeys.
Chasing turkeys.
Fitting, isn't it? Fitting.
For some reason, it felt like I was doing the same thing as being here. No. No, we had some turkey depredations going on, and I do apologize.
I never will forget that day. I called him on the cell phone.
And I go, oh,
and
crud.
That's not exactly what you said. And I said, Kelton, where are you? And you said, right here. And I thought, this guy's on top of it.
Yeah, I'm right here on the side of the hill near Oakley.
Are you going to be on the program? I forgot. Okay.
Yes.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
I will do it via cell phone.
Yeah. You did too, didn't you?
I did.
Part of it.
Part of it. But the problem was the phone kept breaking up where I was at. Was too high up on the hill. And
yeah.
So,
okay.
no,
now, what's this about sawtooth elk tags stay the same?
I put some things in there that are probably going to generate a little bit of hate and discontent.
Oh.
The sawtooth elk tags, we've had a lot of issues with the sawtooth elk tag. Last year, when we put the tags up for sale, they sold out. This is an over-the-counter hunt for bulls. And we put this tag up for sale, and it sold out in less than 10 minutes.
10?
Yeah, it's 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow.
And so...
Were they standing right in line there, or what happened?
Well, yeah, they were. We had people that actually camped in... Well, the non-resident tags, they've already sold out. Oh, no, they haven't, because they didn't start them selling, because they hadn't... I can't remember when they're going to start the non-resident tags on sale, but last year, they sold out within 7 minutes, the non-resident tags. Then on July 12th, we opened the resident tags up for sale, and we had people that camped in front of the office for 36 hours. They were out there a day and a half early, and they set up their cots and lined the sidewalks. And we had a lot of people. The next morning when we got there, we had a lot of people in line that had gotten there at midnight, but the first people in line were 36 hours.
Did you serve breakfast?
No. Their wives would show up with food for them. And because, for some reason, women are just smarter than men, and they weren't sleeping outside for this tag. Go figure.
In a way, it doesn't sound fair to me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No, I mean, it doesn't sound fair to me that group of people could command the taking of those tags and the purchasing. Does that? Am I?
And I understand, because not everybody has the ability to be able to
there because of a job,
because of their jobs.
Have you ever thought about going to a?
That's what had been scoped. It didn't go that way this year, and so these tags will go on sale the same way they did last year.
And you're going to have more animosity.
Yes. So sorry about that.
People aren't going to like you.
We're still scoping it. I mean, they're still looking at it. But the way it's going to happen on July 12th at 10 a.m., we will have half the tags go on sale at licensed vendors.
And you're going to have like 500 people in the parking lot of the...
and Cal stores and Unit 54.
They're not allowed to sleep in the store overnight.
Yeah, I know that Sportsman's Warehouse had people spend the night in their parking lot.
No.
Because they wanted to be there at the first in the vendors. You bet.
Kidding.
And there was other places that did too. And then the other half of those tags go on sale online at 1 p.m. So we sell half of them at the vendors and half of them online. So if you can't get to a line and you don't want to spend, 36 hours in front of a line, we'll also be doing some online. Now, I'm guessing that things will change next year because this has happened for the last 3 or 4 years. It got worse last year.
Yeah.
And
it just doesn't seem fair to me.
No, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And we scoped it. The commission looked at it, and they decided...
You and your scoping. You ever noticed? You've said that word 9 times since we started the program.
I don't know. We looked things over.
There you go.
We looked things over. The commission looked things over, and they decided to go with it one more year before they make the change. And I think part of the reason is this year is because we do have a 2-year regulation, and we had the regulations printed already with the sawtooth.
You want to try that again?
The sawtooth?
It's sawtooth.
The sawtooth? The sawtooth tag would be going on sale at these times in the regulations, and so they decided just to keep it that way again this year until we make next year's regs. And so just for folks to know, and it's amazing to me, it's, most our seasons just ended 14 days ago, and we're already in controlled hunts for bears and turkeys, and we're talking about next year's elk hunt.
What overall, not talking just about the elk or the bear or the moose or the deer or anything, but overall, is the Fish and Game, are you happy with the harvest and the proposed numbers for this year?
For everybody that harvested a deer last year, we're really happy. For those of you guys that didn't, we feel bad.
No, I'm talking about the,
the
habitat and everything else.
You know, the numbers and things look really good. I mean, we just got done flying Unit 45 and 52, and that's that country north of Bliss.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
5 years ago, when we flew that entirety of those units up there, we counted 12,000 deer.
Right.
This year, we counted 15,000. So, despite last winter's harsh winter, we still have a very viable, growing deer population.
Yeah, the fawn crop was really good.
Yeah, well, last year's wasn't as good, but this year's is just bomber.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, and so...
what about the elk and the moose and those numbers?
Elk numbers are through the roof. We're
really?
just... Yeah.
Up here? South
everywhere.
Of us? Really?
Except in historical ranges, like the Frank Church and the Selway. We're still struggling on elk in those units. There's some habitat issues, as well as we still have some predation that's going on because we haven't got a really good handle on the wolves back in some of those areas yet. Yeah. But there's a lot of habitat issues, especially up in the Selway, where there's a lot of old growth timber and there's not a lot of habitat for grazing and stuff. And these fires, believe it or not, if we get a big fire that goes through an area, within 3 years of that fire, you're going to have a booming elk population because it turns it back into graze, and they're more like a cow. I mean, they just need grass, and they not big browsers.
It's like you at a smorgasbord.
Exactly.
I got to pay some bills. Hey, don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. The number to call, 678-1177. A mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. They take care of them all. Dr. Bill and the staff, and they've been voted Minnecacha's best veterinary hospital many times. Don't forget to get your puppy dogs in there for the pyro vaccine. And also, February is teeth cleaning month. Hey, stop in, Kelton. And don't forget, your dogs get 20% off. Make your appointment right now at 678-1177 Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. We're going to send it back over to our main studio right now. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, welcome back. Last half hour with Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game. And then I know Deanna and I both want to thank Kelton so much for his generosity. He brought in a great big 2-layered box of chocolates for Valentine's Day.
Because I wanted you to be mine.
Yeah. You're a cheap son of a gun. I got a coffee cup 3 years ago.
Well, I know.
Don't you feel intimidated because you're not?
My wife was jealous because I didn't get her that.
Anyhow, back to the situation with the Idaho Fish and Game. Access and depredation fee. What is that?
Well, this is picking a scab off an open wound.
Here you go.
That's my job today.
Okay.
I figured we'd start with the Selway and then we'd just keep on, sawtooth tags and just keep on going. Okay. We touted this, price lock. You're locked in.
Yeah.
Your fees don't increase. Except for the access and depredation fee.
You lied?
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't.
You storied us.
We storied you. And so what happened on that? This
is kind of embarrassing for you to talk about.
Well, it's hard because the thing is it's just so frustrating. We're sitting here. We send out all this stuff from headquarters on, there's no fee increase. Yeah, if you buy your license this year, there's no fee increase.
That's what you told me.
Except for the $5 fee increase for price lock. Not for price lock, for depredation and access. What happened is the state legislature passed a bill on a $5 fee for access and depredation costs. This is to help us with our Access Yes program. So if you buy a fishing license, if you buy a hunting license, if you buy any license, and you buy a regular license, it's $5. Like in your case, since it's a senior's license, it's only $2.
Easy.
It's only $2. So youth licenses is a $2 increase for this access and depredation fee.
Let me see if I understand this.
So it's a price lock except for the $2 or $5 increase.
Yeah. So what you told us a year ago on this program about you better go get your license and get a combination fishing and hunting license, and you said by doing so I would lock in the price of that license the same for the next couple of years.
Exactly.
But you're not holding to that.
I am, because if you bought a hunting and fishing license last year, your hunting and fishing license didn't go up 21% this year. So this is just a new license you have to buy. I know. It's semantics, and it bothers me bad. The money's going to a good cause. It's going to pay landowners to allow us to get onto properties to hunt and fish on. It buys access on the Snake River. It buys fishing access on lots of different areas that we use.
So basically what you're saying is that a combination license or any license that may have cut, let's round it off at $30. Okay, just say it was $30. This year it's going to be $35.
Exactly. Unless you bought last year. Well,
you're confusing me.
The way it's going to be is if it was $30 last year and you bought it last year, it's going to be $35 this year with the access fee. If you did not buy one last year, the fishing and hunting license will be $40
with the access fee.
With that access fee, because what happens is the hunting and fishing license is going to go up 21% if you didn't buy one last year. And then there's everybody is getting the $5 access and depredation.
So your license, if you didn't have one last year, you're going to pay a 21% increase.
Plus the $5.
Plus the $5.
Exactly.
See, I've got it figured out.
You do. I don't. but
you've got a mad caller.
I know. But one thing, and I'm going to say part of this reasoning for this depredation increase, though, is because of our blossoming elk herds on these front ranges, because we're getting thousands of dollars of depredation claims on ag lands because of elk right now.
Let's take this caller. And believe me, caller, I'm going to turn it over to Kelton. You can just let him have it. Good morning. You're on the air.
Okay. Kelton.
Be gentle.
Access fee.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that because, I don't hunt big game animals very much. I'm thinking about the geese. I spent the money to get my goose tag, and I'm all geared up to do that for the last couple of years, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, and
I don't think I'm going to do this anymore because I was driving around the country this year, and I see over 5,000 geese in big flocks sitting out there, and I can't get to them.
And I understand that.
In the road, it's just that I cannot get permission to get on that property, or I don't know who to get it onto. And I go up to Aberdeen and American Falls to hunt sometimes, and it's the same issue up there. And so between the two, I'll bet you there was 50,000 head of geese that I never shot one shell this year.
Yeah.
Never fired a shell.
Yeah, and that's tough. And I understand that. On that, one of the things that I guess if you could, there's a couple ways to find out. You can go to the county assessors to find out who owns the land. And the other thing you can do is there's a Garmin chip that comes out for a GPS that actually tells you the landowner's name when you have the chip. It's a $100 chip you put in your GPS unit, and it'll tell you who owns that property. And what I recommend to sportsmen is start right now for next year, talking to those landowners. You know where the birds are and stuff like that, because what happens next year is everybody sees those birds and then they find out who it is and they're calling and bugging him. But if you do it in June or now, or I'd probably maybe wait a few more months before, so the pain from this last year's, they're not thinking about. The other thing on this access fee is it's not just for big game. A lot of our properties that we purchase with this Access Yes property is actually for fishing, upland game, and big game. And so the access fee, and for fishing, we buy a lot of fishing access, and so we try to use that money for all types of access. And if you find a property owner that you would like to hunt, maybe you can talk to him and say, hey, would you guys like to join Access? Yes. And they still have all the ability to control who's in there. They can say, well, we're only going to let 3 people a week go in there, and they can set parameters. And then our board that we have a sportsman's board that comes in and okays the property that we purchase access with, because the landowner puts a bid in saying, I'll allow access with these rules for this amount of money. Then the sportsman's group comes in, they look at all these different fields, and they divvy up the money, and they say, this is the ones we want you guys to bid on. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that helps out some.
Okay.
I ran into a situation, and the landowner said he had a lot of acreage, and it was active, a lot of geese. And he said, no, we just reserve that for our employees, and our foreman takes care of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, he doesn't let anybody on but his family.
Yeah.
And then the other situation I ran into was, we had some people come in a gun club, a hunt club.
Yeah.
And they bought the privileges, and so it closed everybody else.
Yeah.
And
that's been going on.
And I said to him, was that an out-of-state hunt club? And he says, well, I'm not going to answer that question. So I knew right away. It was a group from California that came in and locked up all that ground.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's been going on. I used to hunt down in the Malad. I grew up over in eastern Idaho, Malad. Pretty much all that property down there has been purchased, and the state legislature pushed a thing through a couple of years ago that anybody that owns private property can outfit on their property without going through outfitters and guides. And so we've lost some of this waterfowl hunting, especially in the Hagerman Valley, to landowners starting their own outfitting businesses. And so it's tough. It's private property rights, and so landowners have the ability to be able to allow, it's just like you're in your house. You can allow anybody into your house that you wish, and they can do the same thing on their property. That's why we came up with this Access Yes, because we know that we're battling some of these hunt clubs and these different things for just the regular sportsmen. And so hopefully we can, if we can get enough funds, it makes us more able to compete against these other offers that they're getting. And so, but no, I appreciate your call, and I wish you luck next year.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for calling in this morning, sir. Thank you. And I will say this right now, and I think you're going to agree with me. I hate to have you be so copacetic, but $5 to be able to use literally that hunting and fishing license almost all year long. Well, it's not that much of an increase.
It's not.
I don't like to hear about these increased fees, but $5, it's not hardly going to buy 3 cups of coffee.
Well,
it won't.
It's 2 gallons of gas, and so
less. Today.
Diesel.
Yeah,
I guess I haven't bought fuel for a couple.
Well, I'm going to say that if gas is at $2.69 a gallon, your math is pretty poor.
Oh, Utah State.
No, I'm not falling in that hole again. I got yelled at.
That's good. No, that was North Gym. But but the thing that I have a rough time with is that the way it came out, there's no no fee increase, and there is, and so I just wanted people to try to be upfront. That's the single biggest complaint that we're getting right now at our office.
I'll bet.
Is people come in and say, I thought if I bought my license last year, I didn't get a fee increase this year. Well, if you'd have bought your license after June last year, you'd have paid the $5 last year, and so it wouldn't have been such a shock. But if you bought it earlier, and those are the people we're hitting right now.
And you know what's really terrible for you and the position it puts you in right now this morning on this program, the very next topic that we're going to discuss in just a moment after the weather is another fee application increase on trophy increases.
Well, and this one's really frustrating.
Oh, my. Stand by. I got to get a weather forecast on here. The weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657, or go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, delicious meats. The breakfast bacons and the sausages and the bratwurst and the hams and the prime ribs. Every everything is delicious at Scarrows Meats. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for this Valentine's Day. Mother Nature could be showing us some love in the form of precipitation. We do have a slight chance of snow showers for today between 11 and 2 this afternoon. And winds are going to be picking up as well, becoming out of the west right around 17 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 43. Tonight, slight chance of rain or snow showers before 8 o'clock in the evening, low right near 29. For tomorrow, looks like sunny skies and a high of 38, mostly clear for tomorrow night, low of 24, and for Friday, partly sunny, high of 40. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Thank you, Gina. Excellent job. Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and his great crew are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Call them or stop in, 324-7657, Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. You're like a little guy on the corner in Las Vegas wearing a long trench coat holding out a tin cup. Now you want more money on another subject.
I'm going to try to explain this one. Because this one took me by surprise. Because, I mean, trophy apps aren't going yet. But trophy apps, and what I'm talking about is for...
They're going to start chewing you before you explain it.
Yeah, okay.
Well, good morning, caller.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good, sir. Go ahead, please.
Good. I have a question. I have a senior citizen's license. It's for 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And I did not find out until just recently that if you have a two-pole permit, you have to buy that every year. I'm wondering if there's a reason why you can't just buy the whole thing at one time and not have to remember you got to get another two-pole permit. Just asking. I'll shut it down and listen on the radio.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for your call. Why is that?
Because it's a ridiculous system. We're actually getting, and I wanted to touch on this. I forgot to put this down on our little talking points list. We're getting a new computer system coming in, so you have to be really gentle with everybody that's a licensed vendor beginning the first of next month, because we got this whole new license system in. I think that they're going to try to circumvent having to purchase the two-pole permit every year, but with the current system it wasn't programmed in, and so yes, you have to go buy your two-pole permit every year because of some programming issue. But I think that this is going to be figured out with this new system. Maybe not right in March, because they're still in the process of programming it, and every place you buy your hunting and fishing licenses will have a new terminal and a new computer system, so hopefully it doesn't crash on us as much. And it's supposed to offer more opportunities for us to change things like that.
Now, this is the first program I've seen with you here in my studio where you're really sweating profusely.
It's mostly the fever that I have from my cold.
You're lying. Now I want to put you on the spot again. Quickly, we're running out of time. The trophy application increases.
Okay. I'm going to go through this. Well, what happened is 2 years ago, we'd come up with a plan that they had talked to some of the sportsmen about dropping the, like right now, if you apply for moose, sheep, or goat, you have to pay for the tag up front, and so your application fee was about $175 to apply for moose, sheep, goat, and then if you didn't draw, they sent you a check back for the price of the tag.
Right.
Well, it cost the department quite a bit of money to send all these checks back, and so they'd come up with this deal. Well, we're just going to increase the application fee to apply for the tag to $16.75 for residents and $41.75, and you didn't have to pay for the tag, so we didn't have to write a check to reimburse everybody for the tag fee that didn't draw.
Gotcha.
Well, the commission went through it, and at the last minute they said, nope, we're going to keep people paying the price for the tag. We're afraid that the drawing odds will go really bad on moose, sheep, or goat if everybody can just apply for $16.75. And so this year, they'd already set in place this new fee increase of $16.75. It used to be $6.75, so it's going to cost you about $10 more this year to apply for moose, sheep, or goat.
So $26.75.
Nope. $16.75 because it was $6.75. And so this year it's going to cost $183.50 to apply.
I got to get a calculator.
I know, unless you didn't buy a hunting license last year. And if you didn't buy the hunting license last year,
it goes up 21%.
It's $216.50.
So wouldn't that be 21%?
Yes, 21 right in there. So no fee increase.
You want to know the honest truth? I got to get a copy of this segment of the show, and I want to replay it because I want to see how vague it really is.
Hey, I'm not being vague. I'm telling you the exact things right here. I'm busting out all the hidden corners of everything.
Okay, now let's go through this again.
Are you capable of remembering all this?
No, not right now. So what you're saying is for the trophy application increase,
yes,
instead of it being a $6.75, that is going to go up and escalate $10 to $16.75.
Exactly.
And if they did not, I'm doing this pretty good so far. And if they did not buy a license last year, they buy the license at a current 21% higher rate with the access and the trophy application fee.
Correct. So they don't need the access because you got the access fee when you bought your license.
Don't confuse me. Take the
license.
Money and run.
Okay. If you bought a license last year, it's going to cost you $183.50 to apply for moose, sheep, or goat. And if you didn't buy a license last year, it cost you $216.50.
Can we leave it at that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm done. I just wanted, I didn't want people to be surprised when they go to.
How come they kept changing the rules?
Well, it's kind of those ideas that pop into people's heads, and they say, this is a really good idea, and then it gets right down to the wire, and they go, this might not be as good as idea. But we changed all this stuff back here behind it, and
that puts you guys on a rough spot.
It does. And, otherwise, if things hadn't changed 3 months ago in Jerome when the commission met, it changed. The proposal had been to drop the tag increase. Of having to pay for the sheep tag or the goat tag, and
the moral of the story simplified is when you go to buy your license, just be sure and take your passbook savings account.
Come on, you may not be able to buy McDonald's on the way home.
We got two issues to hit on real quick, and I got a commercial. We've only got 3 minutes. Bobcats close Friday, and you have 10 days to get them checked.
Yes, Friday's the last day for harvest on Bobcats. Has been a good season. Had a lot of folks bringing in and getting their permits for them, and so you've got 10 days after Friday.
Where did they get them checked?
At the Jerome Regional Office. You have to come over there, and we put a pelt tag in them.
Okay. And the waterfowl season comments online in mid-March.
If you've got some ideas you would like to see changed on waterfowl, we're have a waterfowl online scoping. No, we've got an overview of things that people could see next year, things you'd like to see change. Mid-March, we're going to have that online, so go on and comment.
I'll bet you're glad this program's over.
You got a headache.
I can see why.
I like talking about lighter things, that I can just kind of
no more fee increases.
No more
Next month, you're going to probably charge me more just to have my pole stuck in the water or the line.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to remind everybody about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're doing the right thing matters. They've got the best in tires at really, really great prices right now, celebrating Founders Celebration in honor of Mr. Les Schwab. I urge you to stop in and check out the Road Control Touring AS for your passenger cars, $74.98, all-season design with a smooth, quiet ride. And also check out very best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, everything. And they offer a free brake check to see what kind of shape your brakes are in, and a free pre-trip safety check. They want you to go safely and come home safely. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We made it through.
We did.
And you're sure that everything we stated is gospel about the increases?
For today.
For today. Where are you going to be working at tomorrow?
I don't know.
That had to be a little tough for you. I feel some empathy and sympathy for you. No, not really.
Yeah, really?
Sorry about that.
You got a fever.
I'm getting your flu. You're feeling better, though, huh?
I am. I'm not like I don't get up and feel like I need to lay back down.
What brand of whiskey got you off the bed?
Yeah, I know. That's what I joke about. I had hot toddies every night without whiskey. Lemon and honey and hot water.
9 days you were sick.
I've never been kicked in the head like that.
No.
I mean,
well,
yeah,
I've been you were, but you don't remember.
Yeah. But no, that was a. I feel for folks if people have got this, just take care and wash your hands early and often.
Who were you in contact with?
I don't know. My job, I'm work with the general public quite a bit and give lots of presentations.
Disease carriers.
Yeah, Typhoid Mary.
Okay,
we'll go Typhoid Larry.
Hey, we'll see you next month.
Hey, sounds good.
All right, Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06, and we got to go to my grandson's big basketball game tonight at CSI, and we'll be back tomorrow morning 8:06, where we always say the way things were, the way things ought to be. God bless.